Hi everyone, it's me, the one and only Ken Sparkle, or the Sparkle Girl. So let's just say I'm going to review this TV show that I used to watch as a kid. So basically, can I just be honest? This is actually a Japanese show. In case that because this is actually an anime. So that's the whole thing, really. So although I have watched it in English, like for a long time. And I have been watching it in Japanese and Spanish 3 times on YouTube, I mean. So let's get to the point that I currently prefer English because let's just say it's not just because I'm English, it's because English is the only language I could possibly understand. Yeah, something like that. And besides, you guys probably might agree with me, so that's the whole point, isn't it? So, so anyway, um, of how I first started watching the show was because I remember my nan, who was my dad's mom. Let's just say, my nan used to get these newspapers, and I think the name of the newspaper she collects was Mirror, something like that. Because let's just say it's kind of complicated to explain, but I just remember she used to read them when she was alive, and now every time I come over to her house. So, and I remember this one moment, and she saw those Grimm Photo Classics DVDs. Well, not just only them, but there are some few different types of DVDs. Those used to come out along with the newspaper back in the early 2000s and now when I was a kid. And yeah, I just remembered I used to own these DVDs. So sadly, I don't have them anymore because I got this weird thing about not want them anymore. So yeah, just say I just thought that I wanted to not have those DVDs anymore because they're getting old. So I just brought them away because I know there'll be some other people, well, especially kids, would probably like to watch it. So yeah, so that's the thing because it's hard to explain. Well, maybe not too hard. Because I remember this one moment, I was watching one of those episodes as a DVD, and it was Bluebeard, and let's just say you probably have seen my community post about it, that I did say that this episode actually scared me to life. Let's just say, oh, the way it plays in the episode, oh boy. I mean, the beginning of the episode, that doesn't scare me, of course, the beginning of the episode, but of course it did give me quite like a, ooh, spooky, just the way the scary music started to play at the beginning of the episode, and I was like, oh my god, like that. So you can't possibly blame me for that one. But I'd rather not go through the details about this episode in case you might want to watch it. But can I just let you guys know that this episode might be scary for some of you guys who may not like scary stuff or something, and I completely understand you guys. If those of you are not scared, well, that's fine. So I'm just saying. So that's how I remember it and how I started it. So let's just say that, well, the thing is, like I said before, that is actually the Japanese show, but it turns into English for the all of us, if who speaks English as a viewers to watch them, something like that. And speaking about the series, I believe they have another name of the show, and it's called Grimm Masterpiece Theatre. Although it's but it's actually just called Grimsfield Tale Classics, but it's also known as Grimm Masterpiece Theatre for some reason. Maybe it's because that's the original name for the show. And it's also been called the Grimm's Fairy Tales in Australia and New Zealand for some reason. I don't know why. So yeah. And yes, and of course, the Grimm Fairy Tale Classics that I'm talking about is actually based on the Grimm brothers stories. Yeah, something like that. Because there are some few episodes that, something like that, you know. Okay, okay. So I wanted to talk about some of the episodes well, maybe all of them. I don't know, but I'll try not to bore you guys or anything because I know some of you probably might get bored. You know, whatever's what's going on in your head or something like that. I don't possibly blame you. So yeah. Okay, so the very first episode, and it's called "The Traveling Musicians of Bremen." Well, I hardly know what's about, but I know it's about these animals who wants to be a group of musicians, who likes to play music. So they wanted to be in a band. So yeah, I just run until the next episode was about Hansel and Gretel. Yeah, I had to admit that's the first episodes I've watched as a kid, if I had to admit, or to be honest. I was just like, I also remember there's one moment that I did got scared from that episode. Not too scared like well, not the way I used to, but not anymore. But let's just say, there's one scene um, where the witch just literally just turned her face towards Hansel through the cage, but well, if you think about it, it's like the way she turns her head towards to the screen, and then she just turns into some demon monster. And I was like, oh my god, blimey, giving me nightmares. Oh wait, okay, calm down. Okay, I just remember watching that bit of the episode, and that gave me quite a creep. But I'd rather not spoil it in case you guys are new to this show. So, and the Frog Prince. Yep, the Frog Prince. Well, I hate it to admit, but sometimes princes can be a bit selfish. But like I said, don't get too into the details. And although she did learn her lesson at the very end, so don't get me wrong. And yes, and there's a next episode called Little Red Riding Hood. Oh, you just got to love that one. My favorite. I might as well make my own story about that one day, if I get the chance. And there's another episode comes after that, and it's called The Golden Goose. I have to admit, I found that episode quite a bit weird and funny and good at the same time, all together. Stick to the glue. Because every time when you touch the golden goose, without the guy who owns the goose. I mean, if someone else touches it, your hands get stuck like a sticky glue. I mean, and no matter how many people who touches it by touching the either the goose or the other people who are already touched the goose, you'll be stuck. I mean, seriously, that's weird. And the way that about the princess who doesn't smile, I mean, can't can't possibly blame her, but I kind of feel a bit, uh, is she okay or something? Because the way she just put like this, like seriously, what kind of princess is she? Not smiling, but I can't possibly blame her. But let's just say, at least she did got her smile back after all that funny business going on. So yeah, you can thank the guy who owns the goose. Not the tiny creature, but the boy, the young boy who lives with his family who's not treating him well and that. So, and there's another episode called Puss in Boots. I got this sort of mixed feeling on this episode that I sometimes like it and sometimes I don't like it. Well, there are some good moments about it, but this one peculiar moment that I don't like about the episode was when you know, this the sorcerer villain guy who turns into a lion. That bit always gave me the creeps as a kid, and it still gave me the jibbies as I'll grown up sometimes. Not always, but it kind of depends because every time you think about things that used to scare you, always kind of reminding you sometimes while you're growing up, and that you can't possibly blame me for that. So that's just how I remember it. And there's Snow White and Red Rose. sorry, Rose Red, sorry. Keep getting mixed up with that. All I just remembered is about two young girls with the name Snow White and Rose Red who live together with their mom, and they meet this evil gnome. Well, who's well, let's just say he's a nasty gnome. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I hate that guy anyway because he's such a. I don't know, but I just don't really like him much because he's just so mean towards the girls. Okay, and there's another episode in after that episode, and it's actually just about well, it's a different character but with the same name, Snow White. So I know it's kind of a bit confusing because Snow White and Rose Red is a different story compared to the actual Snow White that we all know and love. So yeah, I had to admit I kind of like and prefer Snow White and Klaus sort of thingy in the episode rather than having Snow White to be the prince, really. And I'm sorry if I already spoiled it for you guys, but if I had to admit, at the end of the episode, that Snow White marries to the prince, although it didn't show, of course, but I'm just saying. But I had to admit, I kind of preferred Snow White to be with Klaus, her friend, not the prince, because it's just not right. Because their friendship is just so cute. If you want to watch the episode, I mean, I mean, um, if you watch the episode, you get what I mean. I mean, once you finish watching the episode, let me know. So, okay. And there's another episode comes after that, and it's about the six who went far in the world. I don't know much about that story, but I think it's just about a man who travels the world. I think, and then after that one was the World's Life. I love that one so much. Okay, Bluebeard. Ugh, gross. I don't like that episode. Sometimes I do mind. I mean, sorry, I don't mind sometimes the time. Kind of depends. As long if I skip the forbidden room scene. Blech. Ugh, give me Jim. Okay, and there's another episode called Jorenda and Joringle. It's about a young two couples who loved each other, and then this one moment they were in some forest, and then some witch turns her into a cat. Sorry, no, into a bird. Because let's just say, if I remember correctly, the witch was in disguise as a cat, and then turns Jorenda, a girl, into a bird. So Joringle has to go on a mission to save her. So that's all I have to say. Nothing else. Okay. And Briar Rose. Oh, you got to love that one because it's just so romantic. Well, let's just say not too romantic, of course, because you something like that. Because let's just say that the ending of the episode. I mean, half of the episode. Because it's like 100 years later, something like that, and the princess is probably like younger than Briar Rose, if you get what I mean. I can't possibly imagine how old is Briar Rose right now at the end of the episode. I can't even possibly imagine that, so no way I want to think about it. No way. Okay. Another this one, and it's called Old Sultan. And I know some persons said that they loved the episode, but for me, I'm not too keen. Sorry if it's disappointing you. So let's just say it's because I think it's about a dog. I think, yeah, something like that. I'm not really good at remember things sometimes. Well, depending on the episode, something like that. But I also like King Gristlebeard. That's okay if I have to be honest. But let's just say Princess Elena in the episode. She may be you know, she may be a bit, oogie. Like, she doesn't like everything to be wrong or something like that. Can't possibly blame her, but sometimes the way she behaves during the episode is kind of a bit annoying. So don't blame me for that. Okay, there's a Naughty Spirit episode. I don't know much about that episode, if I have to admit. Okay, all I know is about like the like these men characters. I don't know what's their names, but I just know they were men in it, and they were facing this naughty spirit, something like that. Whew, good. Okay, and there's the worn out dancing shoes. That's kind of every time I watch that episode, it always reminds me with the one, with Barbie and the 12 dancing princesses. Let's just say it's because it's about princesses who dance a lot, and the more that they keep on dancing and dancing and dancing like forever and ever, the moment the shoes just goes like worn out. I don't think I ever want that to happen to me anyway, because I don't really dance much, as you could possibly imagine. I do dance, but not too much because every time I dance like too much, it like I can't breathe properly because I need to catch my breath sometimes. Like I need to calm down if you get what I mean, because I'm not like those people who could like go out in the night dancing, cheering, loud noises like when they go like this, woo, yeah, do 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 do, bop 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 bop. I mean, seriously, give me a break. And I'm sorry for those of you who likes doing that, but for me, no. So yeah, and there's another episode called um. Oh, hang on, Cinderella. That's it. Cinderella is just one of those episodes I watch the most of that show. Actually, tell me about it. Okay, and there's another episode from season two, and the first episode of season two, and it's called The Crystal Ball. Although I believe that the crystal ball is not really, well, I'll just say it's a lost episode, if I have to be honest with you guys. But luckily, some person has literally found the episode and posted in English. And I would like to thank that person who uploaded that episode in English. Thank you. Okay. And The Marriage of Mrs. Fox. I don't know if you guys might heard of it, but I remember watching it as about um two couple, and then the husband was angry and jealous because he thought that his wife was getting too much attention from the other male foxes around the town and that. And then he sort of like faked his death, and she was devastated, and she has to choose another man to marry until like at the very end. But let's just say it's something that you may not going to expect, but I'd rather keep it to myself for your sake, guys. Okay. Beauty and the Beast. I just love that episode so much. Beauty and the Beast is just one of these episodes I watch the most as well. Yeah, so tell me about it. And there's another episode called The Magic Heart. Yeah, I remember watching this episode. So yeah, and there's another episode called Rapunzel. Ah, gotta love that one. And I believe a friend of mine asked me this question about how did Rapunzel has a son after during the episode. I mean, well, I don't blame you for asking the question, my friend. But if I had to tell you this, it's because they have to skip the years because Damon, if you think about it, while the prince was blind at the time because after being thrown out of Rapunzel's tower into the bushes, I got his eyes, closed and now so, and he was struggling because he was trying to find Rapunzel. So let's just say until the years went past. And that's when he finally met Rapunzel again, which is actually good because they both reunited along with their son. Okay. And there's another episode called The Old Woman in the Woods. Okay. And there's another episode called The Faithful Watchman. Yeah, let's just say it. I know this one person asked saying that they want me to talk about it. Although, if I had to be honest, I don't really know much about the episode. Sorry, my friend. So yeah, sorry to disappointing you. So yeah, and yes, there's another episode, and it's called The Wolf and the Fox. don't know much about this one either. And I also remember this one episode called Mother Holy. Yeah, I remember this one. Oh, the Six Ones. I remember that one. You got to love that one because it's just so good. I just say it's up to you guys if you want to watch the actual series because all the episodes are all on YouTube. Okay, some of them may be not in a good HD quality because some of them are actually be recorded from the VHS by some people, but the person I mentioned before about this episode about the crystal ball, let's just say he got all the episodes in HD quality with the best audio. So I suggest you should choose his channel better because the other videos are not too good. Sorry for saying it, but it's true. And yes, there's another episode called The Coat of Many Colors. Yeah, I remember that one. I don't like the girl's father. I mean, when he's old, actually, because the way he looks when he's too old and that, ugh, give me, ugh, like stay away from us, you creep. Because let's just say, okay, I know you guys might not want it to know, but I have to warn you guys that this may be a little upsetting. Not too much, of course, but don't worry. It's not like it's got any disturbing or anything. No, don't worry. Nothing to worry. But let's just say, because the father, all older now, he was so obsessed about marrying his own daughter because he thinks that his daughter looks a bit like allotted to his late wife. And I was like, what the what? I mean, God blimey, that's gross. That is disgusting. I mean, seriously. You guys may not agree with me with that point. And I bet you would too, Sophie. Ooh. Okay, 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 skip that, thank you. Okay, so there's another episode called Brother and Sister. Me and Sophie love that episode so much. Yeah, can't possibly blame us though. And there's another episode called The Four Skillful Brothers. Don't know much about this one, but I also remember The Spirit in the Bottle. I hate that episode actually. I'll just say it is okay to be fair, but the ending is something that you may not going to like, but I'd rather keep it to myself for now. So yeah, the Iron Stove. That's also the last episode of the series, but thankfully, that person I told you guys about, he uploads that episode in English and full HD quality, which is good. And there's Bearskin. I love this episode because it's just so cute. Because when the man, when he was all like messy and all kinds, that he falls in love with this young woman who's actually the middle daughter of this rich man, and she kind of miss him because he has to go away for over a year or something so until like something in the end that they both reunited, which is really lovely to see. But like I said, no spoilers. And Hare and the Hedgehog. I don't know. Okay, the Man of Iron. Let's just say it's about a young prince, and he met this giant, which he called himself the Man of Iron, if I'm not mistaken. And let's just say, because he wants to, the prince wants to prove himself about how to be a better prince and not being a selfish prince all the time. If you get what I mean. Which that kind of reminds me of was like this guy from the this Disney New Groove, something like that, Empire New Groove, something like that. Yeah, something like that. And oh boy, and there's the brave little tailor. I think this is something to do about a little bird, and he thinks so. Sorry, it's just like I said, I don't remember much with some episodes, so yeah. But there is another episode that I possibly might be able to remember a little bit, and it's called The Wren and the Bear, because the wren is actually a bird, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the the wren and the bear were like not friends or anything. I think that's what it's about, I think. Okay. And there's Rumpelstiltskin. I'm not too sure whether you guys might like this episode because it's well, I like it sometimes, but it kind of depends. And there's another lost episode, and it's called The Water Nixie. But luckily, this person uploaded that episode in English. Thank God for that one. And same thing for Godfather Death. Well, I should say he hasn't uploaded that one yet. Well, quite yet, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully he will one day, if he gets a chance to be free to do it. But if I have to be honest, Godfather Death is the last episode of this whole series. So, and this episode is actually a very sad episode to watch. Although I have seen bits of it before, but I had to keep it to myself though because I know you guys might not like spoilers, so don't get me wrong. I may have it already spoiled for you, only a little bit though. Yeah. It doesn't really that matter whether really, because sometimes none of us may not like spoilers, but some people doesn't mind, so don't get me wrong. So, and speaking about the actual series, there's another series that I also watch fairy tale episodes, but it's quite different compared to the Grimm fairy tale classics actually. It's slightly different. And I remember watching the episodes like The Ugly Duckling, The Three Little Pigs, Snow White, Little Red Riding Hood, Puss in Boots, Little Mermaids, and Cinderella, the Wolf and the Seven Little Kids, goats, but kids. It's, let's just say, the little, okay, so the baby version of the ghosts, they are called kids. I know this is kind of a bit confusing here. And I also remember Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. It's all those episodes on YouTube except for Cinderella. Well, the actual English, I think, because if I'm not mistaken, it is on YouTube but in different language with a HD quality, something like that. So these are the episodes I remember as from the Grimm Fairy Tale Classics and the other show called My Favorite Fairy Tales, something like that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video because this is really interesting, really. So be free to share your thoughts on the actual show, or the episodes themselves, or the characters, the story, or whatsoever, or why you like them so much, something like that. Or if you want to ask any questions, be free to do so. So if you're new to my channel, be free to give her a like and subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell to receive my videos every day. And I'll see you guys later. Bye everyone.